Intelligence Center says the fraud is calculated. People steal unactivated gift cards, open the cards, steal the electronic number, then they reseal the card and return them to store shelves. Now, when a customer buys a card and it's loads of money, they are then able to drain the card and take the money before a customer can use it. People are encouraged to closely look at the gift card packaging. These three men are linked to crimes in Dallas, Central Texas, and all along the Gulf Coast.
All right, now this isn't an important story in a vacuum, but this is an important story for you to sort of stick on the bulletin board of your memory. Because one of the allegations around all of this immigration policy under Trump 2.0, one of the underpinnings of the criticism of you is that you're a racist. Well, you just want to go round up brown people and black people and deport them, and some of them are here legally, some of them are here illegally, some of them they're good citizens and they contribute and they pay taxes and they commit fewer crimes than you silly Native American, not Native American, but well, these guys are Latvian. They're white. They're whiter than I am. And we want them gone, right? They're illegal immigrants. We want them gone. Can you go find anyone that's on Team Red that says, "No, let's keep these guys"? So there goes your whole racial narrative right there. The fact that we have this one story, and I want you to remember this story because it's being used against you. Some of the Somali fraud stuff I'm going to play for you later. It's like, this is all just based on racism. No, we want all illegal immigrants gone. Unfortunate for the narrative that the majority of them are not white. But this is not a racial thing. We want them all gone, even if they are white, even if they are Latvian. Hell, most of us don't even know where Latvia is. I didn't even know that was a thing. Is that a city? Is that a country? I don't care. We want them gone. So please, everyone, just remember this, because as we walk through the coverage of the Somali updates, this is the rubber that you can bounce off the race card. Just they throw it at you, and you can just like Captain America's shield, bang, just block it with this. But I'm really enjoying the Somali fraud story because the narrative has been so enjoyable. At first, it was like, well, it's not that much money. Okay, well, it's billions of dollars. Well, okay, well, still not that much. What about $9 billion? Okay, well, that's a lot, but it's not just Somalis. Well, 85% of the people that are charged with crimes are Somalis. Okay, well, maybe it's a lot and it's Somalis, but the new goalpost is we've known about this for a long time. This is not anything new. Come on, man. You can't just take an L. Just can't be like, wow, that's fraud and it's bad. We should look into that and stop it. No, it's Abby Phillips on CNN.
But all of these allegations have been public for a decade. The Minneapolis Star-Tribune highlights the investigations that stretch back to 2015 when daycare centers were raided. And since then, the newspaper has done more than 300 stories on these allegations. Back in 2022, the New York Times investigation helped lead to some of the first charges brought by President Biden's DOJ. But that's not stopping the Trump administration. It says that Homeland Security Department officials are going door to door in Minneapolis to investigate suspected fraud sites. But critics fear it's just a pretext to intensify the immigration crackdown targeting Somalis in Minnesota. My panel is back with me. The idea that this has not been investigated is completely bunk. That is not true. It not only has it been reported, it is being investigated, as the Trump DOJ is actually trying to point out tonight. So just because conservatives are finding out about something for the first time doesn't make it new and doesn't make it some kind of cover up.
So let me get this straight. 11 years ago, there was an investigation into a fraudulent daycare. So don't worry about the 30 different, not just daycare, but autism centers, home health care centers, medical mobility services, all the other fraud scams that are going on with 30 businesses in a 6-block radius that are getting over $100 million from the taxpayers. Yeah, don't worry about that because, look, we already looked into a daycare 11 years ago, so this isn't anything new. Oh, it isn't anything new? Because originally when he came out with the report, you were saying he was wrong. That's false. There were kids in there. And then it was like, no, that there were no kids in there because it was shut down last week. And then it turned into, well, no, it wasn't shut down last week. We just opened at 2 PM and he came before we opened. And then the newest story, I mean, they keep doing this. They keep moving the goalpost. The newest is that, no, they're open. And here's the surveillance video that shows you all the kids. Look, there was a kid that got there at 9 in the morning. So see, they are open. It's like, oh man, can y'all just stop moving the goalpost for 5 seconds? You want to hear something better? At one of the daycares that Nick Shirley went to, the Nokomis Daycare Center of Minnesota, do you know they were robbed? This is so not believable. You're going to think I'm making this up. I promise this isn't an AI. This is the son's owner saying, oh, man, someone broke into our daycare and stole all our enrollment records. I guess we can't prove or disprove anything that is being alleged against us.
Yesterday morning, I was called by the owner because, unfortunately, someone came in to our daycare. We looked and saw what happened, and we saw that the suspect came in from the back, broke in from the back kitchen, and he also destroyed the wall to come in. As we walked around the daycare, we saw that our office doors was broken into as well. We saw that, unfortunately, there was important documentation, enrollment of the children, and also employee documentation that was gone. There were also checkbooks that were ripped from our check papers that were ripped from our book. This is devastating news, and we don't know why this is targeting our Somali community, as one video made by a specific individual made this all happen. We've been receiving hateful messages through our voice notes threatening us since the past couple of days, including one that happened yesterday morning when after the break-in. This is frightening and exhausting because this is happening to us Somali communities as Somali Americans. We are supposed to stand with each other and help each other through everything that's happening. This is also sad that a video can cause all of this. I want to say that there are hundreds of daycares out there, Somali daycares that are out there, and we all help our children and everyone in our community.
Oh, just play the race card already.
We have high quality daycares, and this is very sad news that one individual who made a false claim about fraud that is happening in the daycares engaged everyone else to come and do this to us.
Well, I hope they find that robber. I hope they got a manhunt on and find him. It's probably the same guys that beat up Jussie Smollett, right? Probably the same. Does anyone believe that this daycare got broken into and someone stole the records? Because, yeah, that's what's real hot on the black market right now is daycare records. Yeah, you can easily turn around and go sell that on the street to go get you some crack. Yeah, did you get those check stubs? Did you get some daycare records, man? Does anybody believe that for 5 seconds? 800-288-9227. 800-288-9227. Coming up next, some updates from a local TV reporter who's been following this for years, Lou Goose. You'll hear him on The James Show. News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. Hey there, welcome to the James Show. Happy New Year's Eve from News Talk 820 93.3 FM WBAP, your home for Markley, Van Camp, and Robbins from 11 to 2. I'm just having a good time watching people move the goalpost and change the narrative and update their worldview as the facts slap down their previous understanding of the story. And it's really interesting to see the reactions of some people because this is a good litmus test. Are you an honest broker whenever you are presented with facts that make your team look bad? Or are you able to excuse anything? Because there's look here, I'll play you this report from WCCO. This is a local guy who is clearly sympathetic to the Somali situation. This report is almost an attempt to exonerate them. There's another guy who's a local reporter. This is from WCCO. The other one's from KARE. And I'll play you his take after this. And you tell me which one makes more sense here. Because when Nick Shirley goes up to a daycare and knocks on the door, and then, you don't see any kids, they don't open the door, or if they do open the door, you don't even hear any kids. You know what a daycare sounds like. You can hear kids down the hall, even if you can't see them in the front room. And you didn't hear any of that in the video. And you know that that's a fraud by what you saw. There weren't cars in the parking lot. There weren't enough cars even to have employees to handle 20 kids. You know, you've been to a daycare. My sister worked at a daycare for like 6 years. Through her last 2 years of high school and all 4 years of college, she worked at the same daycare. I used to go visit her all the time. Oh, I know what a daycare looks like. I know what the parking lot of daycare looks like. I know what the outside of a daycare looks like. I know what it smells like. I know what it sounds like. And so do you. So this is a fun attempt to have people say, well, don't believe what you saw on that video and what you didn't hear on that video. We checked in on it, and I don't know. This seems all on the up and up to me.
This is ABC Learning Center in Minneapolis.
They have to learn ABC and numbers.
Director Ahmed Hassan gave WCCO a tour after finding his daycare in the national spotlight.
All right, we've arrived to ABC Learning Center.
In a now viral video, right-wing YouTuber Nick Shirley claims nearly a dozen...
All right, be skeptical already because he said right-wing YouTuber, not YouTuber. Does he say this is a left-wing daycare or he's a left-wing reporter? Does it get a label? Why does anything get a label on left or right? Because he wants you to question the source. He wants you to be skeptical of Nick Shirley's intentions here. Well, clearly he's a politically motivated fellow.
Daycare centers in Minnesota are taking public funds but not providing a service. He says ABC Learning Center is one of them, knocking on the door in mid-December.
I would like to check a child in the daycare.
Hassan says his employee didn't respond because Shirley was in a group of about 8 people, and his staff were concerned about recent ICE activity. Is this daycare committing fraud?
No, we're not committing fraud.
Well, that's some great investigation. Ask the guy who's being accused of a crime if he's committed the crime, and he said no. Look, we asked him himself. He said no. That means nothing, dude. The guy didn't open the door because there was a group of 8 dudes. I didn't see a group of 8 guys. I saw at most 3. There was a guy holding the camera. Nick Shirley had the microphone, and there was Nick, and there was that guy named Dave, just David of some sort. So even if there is 8 guys, so what? Open up the door. Come out and talk to him. Why would you be scared about ICE? Are you illegal? Did you even ask him if he's legal? Did you even ask him why would you be concerned about ICE unless you're doing something that's breaking immigration laws? No, didn't ask any of that. Just no skepticism whatsoever. But skepticism from Nick Shirley. Got it.
Hassan showed us security footage from the same day Shirley was here. According to the timestamps in the videos, this woman takes a young child into the center at around 9 a.m. that day.
There's one.
About 3 hours before Shirley arrives at the door closer to the street. Within the hour after Shirley leaves, a woman arrives at the other door with a stroller.
That's 2.
A larger family heads inside a few hours later.
2 kids there.
Tuesday afternoon, WCCO found at least a dozen children at ABC.
So they just proved his point while acting like they're debunking him. He's like, this isn't a legit daycare. And they're like, well, no, look, we watched, they showed me the surveillance video for the whole day. And over the course of 6 hours, I looked at the timestamp, 4 kids showed up. 4? That's amazing. You just busted them in a package where you're pretending like you're exonerating them. You just busted them. Oh, yeah, there was like a dozen kids when I showed up. Yeah, because you called them and told them in advance. Hey, you mind if I come by and give you a tour? What's your name? All right, cool. My name's Goober McReporter over at WCCO. I'll be there at about 2 o'clock. Sure, sounds good. Oh, wow, look, can you believe there's a dozen kids here? He's not disproving anything in the Nick Shirley video. Look at that surveillance video. Tell me how many cars are in the parking lot. 4 kids showed up in a day, and they're like, well, I guess this is a legit daycare. Really?
Learning Center, which is licensed with the state. Records show Minnesota officials last visited the daycare in November, noting some corrected and ongoing violations related to day-to-day operations, but no record of fraud.
What would that look like? Hey, look, they wrote down on this piece of paper that they're defrauding the tax papers. Well, we found it. There's no, see, the fraud there is the absence of a kid. There's not going to be negative proof. You can't prove that a kid didn't go there or goes there if he doesn't exist. Does that make sense? Let me go to this other reporter, Lou Ragoose. I don't know what this guy's politics are. He doesn't go out throwing labels around, but I like his reporting a whole lot better. He's been looking at this for years. And the problem isn't that they haven't investigated or haven't been tipped off or it's never been reported before. It's that it's still going. Yeah, they've known about it since 2014. And these 30 places that Nick Shirley visited are still open. And why? Because they're not charging half of these people.
The state of Minnesota has investigated daycare fraud in the past with very mixed results. For 4 years, I tracked the investigation into 4 different daycares. DHS, the Department of Human Services, referred the first case to the BCA, the Bureau of Criminal Apprehension, because they documented overbilling. The BCA says their surveillance found Sunshine Child Care Center and 2 others they started investigating billed taxpayers for twice as many kids as they served through the Child Care Assistance Program. But charges were never filed in these cases. Look at this. The lead agent from the BCA partially blamed the DHS, the department that referred the case, saying DHS wouldn't share needed documentation because they didn't want to act as an arm of the BCA. Now, 2 of these daycare owners are suing the state, claiming they were discriminated against for being Somali. Here's their attorney.
There's no indication that any other childcare centers owned by any other group was targeted even for investigation.
Well, it's the race car. There it is. That's how you know they're guilty. All right, coming up next on the James Show, there is CBS News' response. Their just tepid investigation just makes them sound even more guilty than they were after you saw the initial video from Nick Shirley. You'll hear it next on the James Show, News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. Happy New Year's from the James Show, News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. I am your host, James Parker. And why do we care so much about this fraud story with the Somalis in Minnesota and Washington and Ohio? Why do we care about this so much? Well, for one reason, some of that's your money. Some of that was federal dollars that was taken from you, filtered through D.C., and just given to these people. The other reason you care is because it's so damn rampant. The powerful part about that video is he visited something like 30 places in a 6-block radius that were getting $111 million in the last year. The total count of the fraud is in the billions of dollars. And we're talking about in the state of Minnesota. The Metroplex has a higher population than the state of Minnesota. This isn't some place where you should be able to get lost in the shuffle. But when 111 million of taxpayer dollars are going to this tiny little 6-block radius community that's primarily Somali and no one seems to care, you know what? That gets a little ridiculous. This is Batya Ungar Sargan. She is an anchor on News Nation.
The latest revelations join others in which suspected Somali fraudsters stole more than $9 billion in federal funds from 14 state-run agencies dating back to 2018. Somali Americans make up 89% of the defendants charged. The absolute scale of the fraud just beggars belief. Where were the spot checks? Where were the officials? It seems totally impossible that the Democratic leadership was not somehow in on this. Just think about how outrageous this is. You are wondering whether you can afford to have another child because childcare is so expensive. Meanwhile, a group of Somalis in Minnesota got $110 million for childcare centers that don't exist. You can't afford to buy a home, but 100 Somalis spent millions on luxury properties, millions of your taxpayer dollars. You're paying $30,000 a year for terrible health care, and they got millions for healthcare centers that they never opened for patients that they never serviced. But the fraud is a microcosm of an illness that plagues our political elites, especially on the left. More broadly, everybody comes before you. For decades, the Democrats have pushed for mass migration, both legal and illegal, which drove down the wages of working class Americans while making competition for housing, healthcare, and an education, the hallmarks of the American dream, even fiercer. And if you objected, if you had the audacity to ask why your children were being disinherited in your country, the Democratic elites called you racist.
Wow, fantastic. So I played you a clip from a local reporter on a different TV station there, KARE. His name's Lou Ragoose. There was an interview he did earlier this month where he was asked some questions about his work on it because he's been following this story for this station for years and years and years. So he probably knows more than anyone about the situation. And I really liked his answer because he was asked, what surprised you most about the Minnesota Somali fraud revelations?
What has surprised you the most covering this, if anything?
I guess just that it just wasn't obvious to those that send the money out right away. Like, you know, just covering the trials for Feeding Our Future, I couldn't believe that the education department would just drive past one of these alleged meal sites and see that there aren't a million kids there. Like, that just seems like common sense to me. And so just a lot of, like, you know, things move slower in government, just like in general, like just the idea that you see on paper that there's all these meals allegedly being served and it seems obviously fake, but then you just run it up the chain and see, is there a technicality that we can try to stop this with, or what should we do here? Like, why not just jump up and down and scream fraud right from the beginning? That surprised me that it takes so long to stop.
Right, and what he was referencing there was the Paradise Cafe, the one where Ilhan Omar had like a election watching party, and she did a video with it in the background. And the owner's one of the guys that already got convicted and rolled up in one of these scams. They were supposedly, a restaurant that seats 35 was supposedly providing 18,000 meals a day to their community or whatever, just collecting millions and millions. And it took forever for it to get busted. And, you know, doesn't that seem kind of obvious? This little restaurant's cranking out 18,000 meals a day. No? Doesn't seem weird to anyone? But the problem is isn't with this program or even the people in charge. The problem is this is what is naturally going to happen. When you nationalize an industry, when you put anything, when you take it from the private sector and put it in the public sector, all the incentives change. There's no incentive to save money. There's no incentive to root out fraud. There's no incentive to go check up on this or audit it, because it's not like you go out of business if you waste money. In fact, the more money you spend, the more money you can ask for next year, the bigger your empire gets. So built into the system is incentivizing fraud because it's good for everybody. It's good for the politicians. It's good for the bureaucrats that are running the air quotes program. It's good for the people who are doing the grift. They turn around, they make the donations to the people who are allowing it. And it's one big vicious cycle where they're just all having a good time with your money.
Part of my analysis on all of this is that they measured success partly with the number of dollars they're sending out. Like if we need to, if this program really needs $100 million to help all these people that need housing assistance, then let's send the money out. We're doing a good job by sending the money out, rather than looking at it with a jaundiced eye and saying, we're sending out $1 million, there must be people scamming us. You know, there's two different ways to look at it. And,
Right.
and I think the idea that this is a successful program because so many people need this money maybe allowed all this fraud to happen in the first place.
All right, now let me have some criticism for the reaction from the Trump administration.
The federal crackdown in Minnesota over potential fraud is ramping up on multiple fronts now. Not only do you have DHS and FBI agents on the ground, but the Small Business Administration is now halting all federal funding to the state after identifying $430 million in PPP loans in Minnesota that are suspected of fraud. As we've been reporting.
All right, so their reaction is, well, let's freeze payments to Minnesota until we get all this worked out. No, that's not the answer. The answer is to end all these programs. Put charity back in the hands of the private sector, because government has demonstrated over and over and over every single time it's tried that they cannot be trusted to be good stewards of your charitable dollars. 800-288-9227, 800-288-9227. Coming up next, we'll talk with Dr. Chalmers about the latest health trend called fart walks. Is it just a funny name or is it legit? Find out next on The James Show, News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. So what even is a fart walk? I'm not just saying that to be funny. It's actual health trend. You're listening to the James Show, News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. And just so you know, I'm not making it up. Here's CBS News in Chicago talking about it.
If you're feeling some discomfort after today's big meal, you might want to remember this quick post-dinner fix for next time.
So the fart walk is the highly scientific term for just a walk that you take for about 10-15 minutes shortly after eating a big meal. And what it does is help relieve bloating and flatulence.
She couldn't even say it with a straight face. Dr. Patricia says that the post-meal walk can also prevent spikes in our blood sugar and bring blood sugar levels down.
My next guest is Dr. Chalmers. Dr. Chalmers, have you heard of this before, the fart walk? Yeah, so this is actually something I heard RFK talking about sometime in 2025. Don't nail me down on the date here, but he's even tweeted, taking a walk after a big meal can help with all kinds of things like digestion and whatnot. So this isn't coming out of nowhere, but is there a reason why this is trendy all of a sudden? So do you do a fart walk? Is this something you were recommending long before 2025? Is there some concerns for people who have problems with indigestion and, acid reflux and whatnot? Yeah, and we're assuming it's going to be, light, low, no impact exercise here. No one's going to do the obstacle course from Ninja Warrior after dinner. But so how much exercise do you recommend for the health benefits to be noticed? Well, that sounds really easy. What other easy little tips do you have? Because the number 2 New Year's resolution for 2025 is getting in shape. Good stuff. Dr. Matt Chalmers, the Ozempic craze seems to be hot and heavy as ever. Do you still see it growing, or have you seen it plateau off? Holy crap. All right, hang on, because Miss Parker wanted me to ask you about specifically the GLP-3s. I don't know the difference for someone who's just walking into this. What's the difference between a GLP-1 and a GLP-3? I mean, does it come from lizards? What's the difference? Does it have side effects? Because some of my Ozempic friends complain that they feel sick a lot. That sounds like a market improvement. Does this come from the slobber of lizards as well? All right. Well, thanks for just humoring the layman over here, asking about lizard slobber and fart walks today. This is Dr. Matt Chalmers. You can find him at chalmerswellness.com. And don't you have a podcast as well? Thank you very much, Dr. Matt Chalmers. You go have a good New Year's Eve. All right. And coming up, I think we're going to do this on Friday's show. We're going to do a segment about the resolutions that people have, and the top few resolutions. Number one is actually financial. Number two is health. And I'm going to dedicate a segment to both of those. So we're going to talk about some of this stuff again on Friday's show. Because I know 91% of you are going to jettison your New Year's resolution by the end of January, but I'm going to talk to the other 9% of you who are going to get it together. How about that? All right. Coming up next on the James Show, news from Bug Tussle. They don't want you to do celebratory gunfire. It's like, really? Really? That's what you have to tell us about? Because we're probably going to do it anyway. 800-288-9227. I'm James Parker on News Talk 820, 93.3 FM WBAP. Well, happy New Year's, fellow Texans. It's the James Show, News Talk 820 93.3 FM WBAP. I am your host, James Parker. Yes, we have a live show here for New Year's Eve. I'll be doing a live show tomorrow on New Year's Day, too. So if I'm not the only sucker stuck at work this week, you can be stuck with me. I know you are, too. I see you across the glass over there. I'm kind of split on this celebratory gunfire situation because in today's Bug Tussle update, we're going to go out to my old station. I worked at the NBC affiliate in Bug Tussle before this. And this report on celebratory gunfire, you see it every year. It happens all the time. Sometimes they do it around July 4th. New Year's Eve's a big one, too. And they're all concerned about it. And I get it. I've been hearing this my whole life. This seems to be common sense to a lot of people. So I'm going to play this, and then I did some digging, and I'm going to make you doubt this after the report.
And as we get closer to celebrating a new year, it is important to remember that guns are not safe to celebrate with. Anyone shooting a firearm into the air may not intend to harm anyone, but those bullets can return to the ground. With enough force, this could cause serious injury or even death. Currently, Texas does not have comprehensive laws around the reckless discharge of a firearm. Tyler Police Department says no matter what angle you shoot your gun, it is not good and you could face consequences.
If we see you discharging a firearm inside the city limits, you will go to jail. Do not do it. It is illegal, it is dangerous, and it can be deadly.
Celebratory gunfire is illegal in Texas cities with populations of 100,000 or more. It is a misdemeanor punishable by up to 1 year in prison and a fine of up to $4,000.
All right, let me tell you what I don't like about this. This seems to be another excuse to tell people how scary and evil and dangerous guns are. Because so many of these stories, especially the way they're posited in the news, are really just hinging on the idea that guns are scary. People are just dying left and right because irresponsible gun owners go outside and squeeze off a round, and they're just so reckless and it's so dangerous, and you got to be scared to even go outside because gun owners are out there and there's celebratory gunfire and we told you not to do it. Okay, so let's go through the record here. Every year, every New Year's Eve in America, there's celebratory gunfire. When you go look at some of the stats, I was trying to look it up, like for San Antonio, they're like, we had 354 reports of celebratory gunfire. And it might have been 10 people calling on 35 people. Who knows? But needless to say, if it's just happening that many times out of what has been reported in San Antonio, think about all of the big cities in America. Think about all the rural communities in America where this is happening. I would bet 1 million bullets are going to be shot into the air on New Year's Eve. I bet 1 million bullets were shot into the air on New Year's Eve last year. You want to know how many fatalities we had from celebratory gunfire across the entire United States last year? What do you think the number is? No, just go ahead and say it into the radio there.
1,400,000,000,600 billion dollars.
Nah, it wasn't that many.
150 million.
No, that's like half the country. That's
2008.
No.
8.4.
How could there be 8.4 deaths? The real answer? 1. Is it really such an inherently dangerous activity that it has to be outlawed if it's literally a 1 in a million phenomenon? Do you have to have your gun rights and just really your freedoms, whether it's gun associated or not? You have to have your freedoms curtailed for a risk that's so low, it's 1 in a million? How many people are going to be killed in car accidents today? You're still allowed to drive cars. How many people are going to overdose on Tylenol today or aspirin today? That's still legal. Drinking's still legal. More people are going to be killed by alcohol. There's going to be alcohol poisonings all over the place. This is literally a 1 in a million phenomenon. I went to everytown.org, Everytown for Gun Safety, what has become the online Bible for gun control. They're the ones who are reporting this. There were 2 other instances where someone was injured by a stray bullet that was believed to be celebratory gunfire falling back to earth. A 6-year-old girl was hit by a stray bullet in Omaha on New Year's Eve, and in Chester, Pennsylvania, A 16-year-old was injured by a stray bullet, just hit his elbow coming down, in what was believed to be celebratory gunfire on New Year's Eve. There was one lady shot and killed in Kissimmee, Florida. And that's a tragedy, and I wish it didn't happen. I encourage people to be careful. But is it really so dangerous that it should be outlawed if it's a 1 in a million? Or if you just want to count injuries, 3 in a million phenomenon? Lawn darts killed more people than celebratory gunfire. Oh, I don't know. How many people were killed by lawn darts? What were y'all doing in the 70s that y'all even did lawn darts? Hey, what could possibly go wrong? We're going to throw up these weighted spikes. They're not going to land on anybody's head. Why would you say that? So that was a weird one. What do you think? Celebratory gunfire, should it be legal? Should it be illegal? If it happens, 3 injuries out of a guess, and it is just a guess. But you guys, if you've never been out to the country on New Year's Eve, it's just this. It's just this. If you live out in the middle of nowhere and you have a air quotes neighbor, this is what we call anyone where you can hear him shooting. It's, that's just my neighbor. Where does he live? 4 miles up the road. But yeah, you can hear him. Just there's a lot of that going on. You know who it's real big with? Hispanics. And I can say that because my Hispanic side of the family is probably going to be doing this tonight. They're some of them are former law enforcement. Just the sky above Laredo is just going to be bullets bumping into each other, I bet. But no, I find this a little silly. And I used to think it was common sense. So I understand if you disagree with me. Parker, it's dangerous. What if it wasn't outlawed? How many people would die? I don't know. Let's find out. Let's see if it's significantly different. Because it's something that's only enforceable in the city. Like where I grew up, you could go shoot a gun in your backyard. No one would hear it except for maybe just echoing in the distance. No cop's going to hear it. No one's going to call it in. If they did call it in, how would they prove it? You got a witness? Yeah, I heard a gunshot. How do you know it was Parker? No idea. So it's just silly, but they get to say on the TV, scare all the people who are ignorant of guns, people who live in the blue city bubble, people who think guns are scary. This just reinforces that. And it turns out it's not just common sense safety. It's nothing more than anti-gun propaganda, and I don't know why it's so tolerated. 800-288-9227. 800-288-9227. Coming up next on The James Show, at a grocery store with gas pumps in front of it in Bug Tussle over the weekend, I took a picture. Gas was $1.99. We'll talk to R.T. Trevino from the Crude Truth podcast about what to expect with gas prices in 2026. I'm James Parker. It's News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. Yeah, I'm the pro celebratory gunfire show. It's the James Show, News Talk 820 93.3 FM WBAP. Hang on a second. We'll talk about gas prices, but I got some callers, and I don't know if they agree with me or disagree with me, but in the warnings that you're seeing on the news now where the local law enforcement are telling you the celebratory gunfire is dangerous and you shouldn't do it, and it's super dangerous and guns are scary. You know how many people were killed by celebratory gunfire on New Year's Eve last year? 1. How many other people were injured? 2. How many bullets do you think were shot in the air? I would guess about 1 million. So if it's a 1 in a million shot, is it really that dangerous? So dangerous you need to curtail your gun rights and your freedoms and whatever? Seems a little silly to me. Jerry and Terrell, you're on WBAP.
James, you surprised me. Anyone, I own a lot of guns. Anyone that owns a gun should know you don't play with a gun, especially when you've been drinking. You don't take a gun out, wave it around, shoot it in the air. It's not that one round coming down. That's not the only danger. Now, I'm sure you're going to get a lot of calls on this, but of course not. That gun stays in the drawer in a safe place when you're partying and having a good time.
I think that's solid advice. What makes you think I disagree with that?
Well, that's what you said. You said only one person's been killed by a round coming down, and so it should be able to take them out and fire them on New Year's celebratory fashion.
Okay, but like there's a delineation between what I think is good and bad advice and what I think should and should not be illegal.
It should be illegal to take that firearm out and play with it, unless you're at a gun range. That should be illegal. Take it out, clean it, store it, take it to a gun range. But on New Year's Eve, you don't take it out at a party and start shooting it in the air, in the ground, or anyplace else.
Okay, again, I agree with you, but I don't think it should be illegal. Just like not everything that's bad idea should be illegal. You shouldn't cheat on your wife. Should adultery be illegal?
I don't know about adultery, but I think it should be illegal.
I'm saying, listen, your argument is shallow if you say just because it's bad advice, it should be illegal. That's not enough for me.
It's dangerous.
Well, it's dangerous to go mudding in your car too, but I don't think we should make mudding in your truck illegal.
What if in your neighborhood 3 or 4 people out partying, taking their gun out, drunk, shooting it around, shooting it in the air, shooting it in the? Is that what you want for your family?
Making it illegal doesn't stop them from doing that.
Well, it slows it down.
Okay.
Anyway.
Fair enough. Listen, I always enjoy having this discussion here because a lot of people have a hard time distinguishing where that boundary should be between it's good advice and it's such a bad idea it should be illegal. And I think you were very fair in your assessment on that.
Okay. Have a good one.
Thank you, sir. Let's go to Mike in Fort Worth. Hey, Mike, you're on WBAP.
All right, Bud. I agree with you about some of these things and about the Second Amendment and being able to shoot your gun and all that. But now that I've sucked up to you, listen to a couple of things I've got to say, if you would. Sort of like that little girl walking down the beach throwing in one starfish, and the lady goes, "Well, you can't save them all," and she says, "Well, I can save that one." Well, and it's sort of like freedom of speech. Yeah, you can have freedom of speech, but you yell fire in a crowded movie theater, you're going to pay the price for it. And that's how I feel about, the shooting off the guns. I mean, I was always too cheap to waste my ammo on something like that. But, people, you got to save some people from the self. And that one person they might save might be you, your spouse, a relative, or somebody else.
No. And let me tell you why you're wrong on that one, Mike in Fort Worth. And I mean this respectfully. I'm not saying you're an idiot.
Sure.
Okay, so we have like 35,000 people die a year in car crashes. Should we outlaw driving?
I think it needs to be a little more stricter. I'll be honest with you on that.
But yeah, it could save one person.
Well, and you know what? I disagreed with that argument, and I just said it, and I'll probably have to eat my words on that. But the thing is, it all depends if that one person is me, you, my daughter. I mean, where are you going to draw the line? It's like I said,
freedom. I draw the line at the Constitution. The right to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. I don't care if they're acting in a way that I think is dangerous. Like, oh, you shouldn't get drunk and pull your gun out. Oh, I agree. You shouldn't get drunk and pull your gun out, but I don't think it should be illegal. I don't think everything that's a good idea or a bad idea should determine whether or not something's legal.
Well, the thing is, the chances of catching that person that fired that shot is nil to none. And it's sort of like that gal over in Fort Worth. She got shot. A round came through her travel trailer at her RV park and took her thumb off in her kitchen from a 50 caliber. And that thing was shot a mile away.
Shooting a 50 cal in Fort Worth. Anyway,
Yeah,
no, it's a great discussion here because the question, some of what you're saying is what I hear from gun control enthusiasts quite a bit. Well, if it could save one life, we have a duty to try it. Well, no, because the question always comes down to, and I think this is a difference. One of the differences between Republicans and libertarians is we know where our principles are when it comes to guns, because you're going to get asked at some point how many children have to die before you give up the Second Amendment, and the correct answer is all of them.
Well, I hate when they regurgitate the same old rhetoric every time there's a school shooting. I tell you what I do. Every time there's a mass, quote, mass, look up what the definition of a mass shooting or a school shooting is. I mean, it could be a mile away from you. They could have heard it, but the deal is I go out and buy a couple of cases of ammo because I know it's going to double in price.
All right, Mike, thank you very much. That's Mike in Fort Worth. RT Trevino is my next guest from the Crude Truth podcast. And RT, I was saying right before the break that on Christmas Day and the day after, there's a grocery store in Bucktussle that has gas pumps in front of it, so it's a little discounted, but it was at $1.99. I never thought I would see that, RT. Is the price getting too low? Y'all getting nervous over in the oil patch? Right. Hey, do you know what they're doing with the oil and the oil tankers that we've seized from Venezuela? I heard some of them were parked outside of Galveston. Can we get some of that oil? Yeah, maybe we could do a whole segment on that coming up. The black market for oil, because of all the sanctions that have been thrown around on Iran and Venezuela and North Korea and places like that. You still hear about them sneaking around it, and that's got to be an interesting black market. It's like you're sneaking around in an oil tanker. How does that work? All right, tell them about the Crude Truth podcast real quick, RT. All right, and Landman 2 comes out. I guess that's kind of in your wheelhouse. I'm going to start watching that when I get a chance. Coming up next on The James Show, I think I got some more callers who disagree with me. Am I the only person who thinks celebratory gunfire should be legal? I'm James Parker. It's News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. Hey, happy New Year's Eve from the James Show, News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. I am your host, James Parker, and I am appalled by how many of you people agree with the normal New Year's Eve scaremongering story that happens in almost every news outlet across the country, and that celebratory gunfire is so scary.
And as we get closer to celebrating a new year, it is important to remember that guns are not safe to celebrate with. Anyone shooting a firearm into the air may not intend to harm anyone, but those bullets can return to the ground. With enough force, this could cause serious injury or even death. Currently, Texas does not have comprehensive laws around the reckless discharge of a firearm.
Good.
Tyler Police Department says no matter what angle you shoot your gun, it is not good and you could face consequences.
If we see you discharging a firearm inside the city limits, you will go to jail. Do not do it.
All right, so scary, right? Well, let's go to everytown.org. That's the Bible for gun control, Everytown for gun safety. Last year, New Year's Eve, one person died from celebratory gunfire. Some lady in Kissimmee, Florida. 2 other people were injured. But if something's going to be so dangerous, out of the probably million bullets that were fired into the air, only one person died. Now, every loss is a tragedy, but is that enough to curtail your gun rights or to continue this narrative that guns are so scary? How about if something is going to infringe on your constitutional rights, it has to kill more people than Alec Baldwin? How about that for a metric? Steve in Irving, you're on WBAP.
Oh, man, James, dude. It's not a violation of your constitutional right, your Second Amendment, not at all. Dude, acting stupid's acting stupid. And I worked for a freight company, NW Transport, before it went out of business. Every New Year we were off. We would come back. First thing we did that morning, the very first morning, was go out and start checking the yard because we lost windshields. There's property damage. There's holes in the roof, and that was right there off Urban Boulevard. Man, I had found bullets in my driveway from, the Mexicans over there in South Irving shooting their firearms off. You're talking about them doing property damage. It's a dangerous, stupid thing to do. Why not go ahead and stand on the side of the road there and throw rocks into traffic randomly? It's the same concept. It's not a violation of your Second Amendment at all. You got your Second Amendment rights, but you don't have a right to act stupid and endanger people's lives for no reason.
So, endangering people's lives. 3 people were injured. 1 died. So if it happens in a 1 of a million clip, is that really enough to curtail your rights?
What rights? To shoot randomly into the air, into a crowd? That's not.
Well, no, not into a crowd. These are different. That's a different situation. I'm against that. I'm not saying we should be able to shoot into a crowd. Don't straw man me here. Stick with me.
Okay. Well, look, man, if you're in the city, yeah, illegal. Country, no. I used to live in the country. That was no big deal, man, because it's a sparsely populated area. When you're in dense population, like I said, what's the difference between just chunking rocks onto the interstate, at 3 a.m. when the traffic's light? You're not aiming at nobody. You're just throwing stuff in Yeah, you're acting stupid. You're endangering life and property, not just life.
So no. This
also property.
No, I'm glad you're not just you're back onto the rational argument here. So let's talk about that. I do believe there is such thing as reckless discharge of a gun. If you are pointing a gun at a crowd of people and you shoot it, and just magically it doesn't hit anybody and goes all the way through the crowd without hitting anybody, I think that should be illegal because that is something that's so dangerous that if you keep doing it, someone will get hurt. You do that 2, 3, 4, 5 times, someone's going to get hurt. But if you do it 1,000,000 times and only 3 people get hurt, I have a hard time thinking that's reckless. That's like when your kids going skiing. More than 1 out of 1,000,000 of them are going to get hurt going skiing. But do we outlaw skiing? Do we outlaw jet skis? Do we outlaw driving a car? All these things are far more dangerous than celebratory gunfire in the real world.
There are more dangerous things to do. But, at the same time, there's laws when you drive. You keep bringing up, the deaths on the highways. And look at the percentage of the people that are driving compared to the people that are shooting, and I'm sure statistically it doesn't even come close,
I'm sure statistically millions or thousands of more people die on the road than from celebratory gunfire.
compared to how many millions and millions and millions or hundreds of millions of drivers on the highway.
See, the point is, look, there's going to be trade-offs on everything. And we accept in society and in the legal system over and over a certain amount of risk. Driving a car is the most dangerous thing most of us do every day. It could kill you, and people are going to die today in the car. But we don't outlaw it because there is a social advantage. There is like a public utility for you being able to drive a car. And I think your gun rights are the ultimate social utility.
With responsibility, man. Look, I'm a truck driver.
No one's saying be irresponsible with guns. We just have a different definition on what responsible entails. Thank you, Stephen Irvin. I want to talk to some more people. Zach in Arlington, you're on WBAP. Go.
Well, hey, man, you need to calm down with all this. It's all fun, and it's against your right to not shoot your gun off in the air because it's okay. It's not making you put your guns away forever. It's just telling you need to handle them respectfully, responsible. And you're saying the life doesn't matter, that one life from last year. And you're saying you want 10 times more people shooting their guns off in the air on New Year's Eve.
I've said neither one of those.
More people do it. Well, that's exactly what's going to happen. And if 10 times more people shoot their guns off in the air, about 100 people are going to end up getting hit by one. And you should be ashamed of yourself. You're egging people on to go shoot their guns off tonight.
You know what? I accept that challenge. Let's wipe these laws off the books and let's see if 10 times as many people die. Zach, I'll take that challenge.
You'll take that challenge?
Yeah.
You'll take 10 lives dying?
No. That's your theory. That's your theory. But this is what people say.
You should be ashamed of yourself.
This is what people say about drugs, too. They're like, well, we have to have heroin be illegal. You just want everyone running around using heroin? Zach, would you start using heroin?
To be illegal.
Zach, would you start?
No, I wouldn't.
No, okay, good. There you go. You just proved my point. Just because you make something legal doesn't mean people are going to go out and start doing it. There's not a whole lot of people here that would do celebratory gunfire that aren't doing it because it's illegal. And if you repeal that law, they're going to go out and start shooting their gun in the air. That's
It's legal. It's legal to drink. People drink a whole lot more than they do heroin.
Yes, it's also legal to drink, and there's a lot of people out there who don't drink. It has very little bearing, whether it's legal or not, how much people consume. People actually drank more during Prohibition. When they repealed Prohibition, the number of regular drinkers actually went down. So no, there's no correlation on whether or not something is illegal or legal and people's adoption of that behavior.
Man, I think you're real stupid because you are.
Yeah, that's what a lot of people say when they lose an argument. You're stupid. This is Perry in Van Alstyne. Hey, Perry, you're on WBAP.
Hey, I kind of get your point about whether they should be illegal or not. I mean, stupid is stupid.
Agreed.
But you mentioned the Second Amendment, and the one thing I want to say about that is the Second Amendment reads a well-regulated militia being necessary for a free state, and the right to bear arms should not be infringed. And I think maybe that'd be a better conversation to have right there, because the first part of that nobody ever hears about or talks about, and that was the enforcement arm of the people. And so I just thought I'd bring that up.
So I don't know where that leaves you. Are you in favor of celebratory gunfire being banned?
Well, like I said, stupid. Making it illegal is, I don't think it's going to do any good. But, you know, if you fire a gun and somebody catches that bullet and gets hurt, you're responsible for that bullet.
Hell yeah, go to jail. Go straight to jail. Do not collect go. Or do not collect $200, do not pass go. Ben and Anna, you're on WBAP. Hey, Ben.
Hey, so, you know, I've been a roofer for about a decade now, and so we're on roofs consistently, talk to inspectors consistently. You know, if we're on 5 to 6 roofs a day, 6 days a week, we might see 1, maybe 2 bullet holes in roofs over the course of all DFW in that time period. And wouldn't you know that the weakest shingle, a 3-tab roof, and a piece of plywood stops the bullet 10 out of 10 times?
Shut
I never
up!
find one that goes through.
Oh my God, you're my hero of the day. This is fantastic information to have for the argument.
Yeah, man, like, it just doesn't, the terminal velocity of that bullet is so small. Yes, if it hits you in the melon, it's bad news bears. But, I mean, group of people don't really stand next to each other, except maybe if you're in Times Square. Big old roofs catch things, and you know what? It doesn't break the big old roof, so go figure.
Wow. Fantastic, Ben. I didn't know how right I was until Ben and Anna helped me out. 800-288-9227. 800-288-9227. Anybody besides me and Ben okay with celebratory gunfire? I'm James Parker. It's News Talk 820 93.3 FM WBAP. Happy New Year's from the James Show, News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. I am your host, James Parker, on your home for Markley, Van Camp, and Robbins. We're talking about celebratory gunfire. I was playing the news clip that you hear every year. Celebratory gunfire is illegal. Don't do it. People could die. And I think there's a little sympathy for that argument. Like if you are in a crowd and you're packed in the middle, shoulder to shoulder in Times Square, something to that effect. But for the most part, celebratory gunfire, the concern about it is far overblown. For all the celebratory gunfire that does happen, and it happens hundreds of times in every city, every New Year's Eve. Like San Antonio reported like 354 celebratory gunfire calls last year. God knows how many Dallas, Fort Worth, Plano, you add in Houston, San Antonio, Austin. God knows how many bullets are shot out in Bug Tussle. Then you spread that out across all of America. And it's pretty quick math to say there's probably a million bullets that are shot into the air on New Year's Eve. You know, because just one guy doing this a few times really pads the stats. If you have just a couple of guys that are just squeezing off 30, 60 rounds, it's just a couple of clips. So out of the million bullets that flew up in the air last year, only one of them killed somebody on New Year's Eve. 2 other people were injured. That's it. 3. So if it's something that happens on what is quite likely a 1 in a million chance, is it really so reckless and dangerous that we need to curtail your rights? Does it really need to be illegal? Again, I don't think it's a good idea. I'm not encouraging it, but I don't think it should be illegal. I think that's just silly. Guns are scary type propaganda. Far more people are going to be killed driving a car. More people are going to overdose on aspirin. It has to kill more people than Alec Baldwin before I get concerned about it. Hell, we had like 27 people die from getting struck by lightning every year. This is less deadly than lightning strikes. Do you have news reports about don't go out in the rain? Never. If it could save one life. In fact, it's illegal to go out in the rain. That's what this sounds like to me. Ray in Grand Prairie. You're on WBAP. Hey, Ray.
Hello. I just wanted to comment on that Second Amendment. Everybody says they've got the right to carry guns because of the Second Amendment.
Yeah.
The Second Amendment does not give anybody the right to carry guns except a well-regulated militia. The Supreme Court gave people the right to carry guns. And what the Supreme Court gives, they can take away. The second part is...
Hang on. No, there's not a second part until we deal with this first part. Few people agree with you here. The right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. The right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. The right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be. I don't understand how you get the militia part out of that.
But that's not what the Second Amendment.
That's the second half of the Second Amendment. The preamble gives you the reason why they put the second half into being. A well-regulated militia.
Well-regulated militia.
Right, being necessary to the security of a free state. The right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. So I don't see any gray area in the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. A well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state is what necessarily you get if the right of the people to bear arms isn't infringed. You don't want the people, when it's time to call up the militia, when we get invaded, you don't want that to be the first time the people have held a gun.
The well-regulated militia would include like the police department, sheriffs, members of the military, things like that.
No, it applies to everybody.
According to case law.
Well, fine. According to the English language. All right, we're not even getting anywhere with that. What was your second point?
The bullets. What goes up must come down. And just because they haven't hit a whole bunch of people, why do you have to set somebody up to get hurt? Suppose you've got a large party in your backyard and you've got a gun, you bring it straight up, it comes straight back down and it hits one of your guests. Are you going to feel happy just because you're only one in 1,000
Do you think
people?
it should be illegal to go outside in the rain?
No.
Okay, well, more people die from lightning strikes than bullets falling out of the sky.
That's not something people cause.
No, you cause that when you walk outside. You can easily prevent that by not walking outside during the rain. And so let's outlaw walking outside in the rain. It's more dangerous than celebratory gunfire.
I'm not
You're
talking
saying
about waste.
celebratory gunfire is so dangerous, we have to infringe on people's rights. Going outside in the rain is more dangerous than celebratory gunfire. So, by your logic, we should outlaw going outside in the rain.
Rain is not man-made.
All right. Good chat. Thank you very much. Jeremiah in Dallas, you're on WBAP.
Hey there. So you keep on suggesting like that rain and guns are the same thing.
No,
you realize that
I didn't say they were the same thing.
You're saying that they both kill people. One kills far less than the other one, but you're suggesting like you're comparing apples and oranges. Do you understand that? Does that make sense?
Well, I am comparing the two different levels of risk. One of which is morally, socially, and legally acceptable. The other one is illegal, even though it's less dangerous than the first. That's the point.
One is a weapon that actually kills people. One is water. It's so illogical.
Lightning's water.
Idiotic. Not lightning. You know what I mean. Lightning it's from the air. It's from the world.
Fine, let's do water then. How many people die drowning in pools? How many toddlers die in backyard pools every day? That's more dangerous than guns.
One is water.
Right?
Okay, think about this. Okay, let me ask you a question. If your daughter died last year from that one bullet, would you be okay with not outlawing it?
Yes.
You would still be okay with not outlawing guns being shot in the air. If your daughter was killed last year, you wouldn't go to the ends of the earth to be like, stop it, because that one person,
Jeremiah,
it was illegal.
If my daughter drowned in a pool last year, I wouldn't want to outlaw swimming pools either.
But if water was a weapon, and you could tell people like you're still comparing water and a gun, that you sound so stupid.
There it is again with the stupid. I feel like every time that they say that, I win. It's like, I know I got a break. I'm just having fun over here, Garrett. 800-288-9227. I'm not doing guns the rest of the show, but this is fun. We'll continue with this next. I have some more people who are probably going to disagree with me. Am I the only person that thinks celebratory gunfire should be legal? I'm James Sparker on News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. Happy New Year's! Woo! Happy New Year's on the James Show. It's News Talk 829.33 FM WBAP. I am your host, James Parker. Just doing a little celebratory gunfire on the James Show. That's how we roll here on New Year's Eve, just shooting off guns into the air. The reason I'm having fun with that is because the normal hack stories are going across the news, and it kind of bugs me because once you do a little bit of research into it, these stories sound so silly about celebratory gunfire.
As we get closer to celebrating a new year, it is important to remember that guns are not safe to celebrate with. Anyone shooting a firearm into the air may not intend to harm anyone, but those bullets can return to the ground.
What?
With enough force, this could cause serious injury or even death. Currently, Texas does not have comprehensive laws around the reckless discharge of a firearm.
Good.
Tyler Police Department says no matter what angle you shoot your gun, it is not good and you could face consequences.
If we see you discharging a firearm inside the city limits, you will go to jail.
Okay, so I can maybe see that for people inside the city limits. I'm kind of skeptical here. But the idea that celebratory gunfire in all instances is so dangerous and reckless and irresponsible, it needs to be banned, does not reconcile with the facts. I go to Everytown for Gun Safety's website, everytown.org. I went to the Bible of the gun control crowd, and their statistics tell me right here. I can send you the link. Last year, from New Year's Eve celebratory gunfire, you know how many people died? 1. So celebratory gunfire for New Year's Eve, just as deadly as Alec Baldwin. For me, that's not enough to curtail your Second Amendment rights or to even have scaremongering stories about how guns are scary. And yet I have a whole bank full of people I think probably disagree with me. Don't bother calling in. Lines are full. Gus in Oklahoma, you're on WBAP.
Good afternoon, James. I always enjoy your show. Let me give you my point of perspective to make my rest of my point a little more valid. 10 years in the Marine Corps, primary marksmanship instructor, lifetime NRA member, and range officer at my gun club. Do you know what the first rule of a firearm handling is?
Go ahead.
I'm asking you, sir. Do you know?
Well, I would say don't aim it at anybody.
Don't aim it at anything you do not wish to destroy. If you cannot determine the point at which the bullet will come down at or impact, don't pull the trigger. Rule 1, end of story.
No. Let me ask you this. I don't think that is the end of the story. What?
Well, I'm pretty sure it is. We can go that way. Yes, sir?
Well, if I can give you a hypothetical that breaks that, will you admit there's a flaw in it?
If it's not a straw man argument, I'll at least consider it. I'll go that way.
Great. Okay. So let's go out to the Gulf of Mexico. We're on an oil platform 60 miles from anywhere else that has a human being on it. And I shoot it away from civilization, even further into the wilderness where we know there's not a man-made structure that could possibly be hit before the bullet comes down.
Okay. Where's your question?
Well, is it still reckless and dangerous?
You just made my point, sir. You just made my exact point.
How?
Where's the bullet going to come down? You pointed in that direction.
I don't know.
People 60 miles away. No, you said exactly what you are. Where are you? You said you're in the Gulf of Mexico.
On an oil platform, right?
On an oil platform, and you shoot it away from the platform and away from any place else. That round has maybe, depending on what you're shooting, maybe a half a mile to a mile range. Where is it going to come down at?
Don't know.
Yes, you do. You just answered your own questions.
What? Just come down the ocean around nothing. There's a 0% chance someone will be harmed by it. Right?
Correct.
Okay, so the idea that it's 100% all the time unethical or immoral or dangerous to not know where the bullet's going to come down, that's silly. What if you're shooting to where you know there's going to be no chance of anyone being harmed?
Still have a hard problem with that. So let's go to the next point. So what Second Amendment, part of the Second Amendment right is being violated? You've not explained that yet.
Right to keep...
Has anybody said you can't have a firearm? Has anybody said you can't have a bullet? No. Where's the violation coming out?
Oh, because there's a gun crime. They are going to arrest you because they do not like how you handled, you kept, and bared your arms.
That's not the crime.
Okay.
The crime is you recklessly discharge a firearm inside of city limits.
Okay, so the Second Amendment gives you the right to keep and bear arms, just not actually to shoot the gun.
You have the right to shoot that weapon.
No, you don't.
do it
No.
in
The
nature.
government decides when you have the right to shoot that weapon, according to you.
No.
Even if there's no one that's harmed by it.
You have the right to fire it. If you fire it in a reckless manner.
Okay, but
in Oklahoma on Christmas Day, a gentleman received a handgun for Christmas. He goes in his backyard. He lives out in the side, out in the farm areas. He fires a couple of rounds, puts the gun away. Nobody behind him. Not for a mile. Other than the grandmother who caught the round in the arm, lodged in her chest, and she passed away. He's currently being charged with manslaughter. Did he mean to kill her? No. Did he recklessly discharge his firearm? Yes. He's paying a consequence for it. By all means, feel free to fact check me, but I guarantee you I'm right.
yeah, and I agree that should be illegal too. I that doesn't do anything to disprove what I believe. That guy should go to jail. He recklessly discharged his gun. Okay. Jacob, Decatur, you're on WBAP.
Man, I thought this was a conservative news station. It's kind of wild listening to all of this. But it reminds me of a book I read by Thomas Paine called Common Sense. And it's hard for me to listen to somebody argue their point to you while leveraging an emotional angle. I don't want anybody legislating me with emotions, and I'm not for or against the celebratory gunfire, but then again, I don't feel like it should be regulated based on fear, if that makes sense.
Well, thank you, Jacob. I appreciate it. You're only about the third person that's agreed with me here. And I'm astonished when we do these gun topics because I feel like if this is a conservative radio station, then I'm not a conservative. This is where I feel more like a libertarian. Because when I'm in my libertarian circles, we don't have any qualms about this. We don't have anybody that pushes back, well, I don't know, guns can be scary in certain situations. We might have to infringe on your rights because I think that's stupid. And it's like, okay, well.
No way.
Because look,
everybody wants to be a libertarian until it's time to be a libertarian, it seems.
Yeah, well, there's also the approach to gun control is different in my libertarian circles than my Republican circles because Republicans are like, we should not enact any more gun control. The libertarians around me are saying we need to get rid of background checks and gun registration and serial numbers and what silly, stupid gun control laws we have now. And I think that's one of the determining different factors within Team Red. We're still on the same team. At least we're not like trying to restrict guns more. But I don't know. I'm astonished to get these results sometimes too, Jacob.
It's unreal.
All right.
Thank you. Happy New Year, by the way.
Yeah, Happy New Year. That's Jacob in Decatur. I'm only going to do one more segment on callers on this. But the idea of celebratory gunfire on New Year's Eve, I understand that there's a lot of skepticism out there, even from the WBAP audience. Because you've probably never heard anyone turn on a radio microphone or a TV camera and make this argument. And that should make you suspicious there. If it really is a 1 in a million death rate here, one person was killed from celebratory gunfire on New Year's Eve last year. Why is it illegal? Why is it so dangerous it's illegal? And why hasn't anyone made this argument to you before? 800-288-9227. I'm James Parker on News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. Hey there, welcome to the James Show. News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. I am your host, James Parker. Hope you're having a safe New Year's Eve tonight. Whether or not you are participating with celebratory gunfire. The news stories about this crack me up and simultaneously kind of irritate me because go do the research. Go to everytown.org, look this up yourself. Find out how many people died from celebratory gunfire on New Year's Eve of last year. Because the number is 1. And I admit, it's irresponsible. I know, just 1. It's irresponsible. It's dangerous. I don't recommend it. But I don't think it's so dangerous it needs to be outlawed if only 1 person was killed by it last year. 2 other people were injured. So a total of 3 people. Total of 3 people were hurt by this. And how many bullets were shot in the air? I would guess 1 million. Because all it takes is a handful of people doing this a few times. 30-round magazine in your AR. We'll get to 1 million real quick. And look, not everything that is reckless should be illegal. Not everything that is dangerous should be illegal. Not everything that hurts people should be illegal. We have more people that get struck by lightning every year. We have more toddlers drowning in pools every year. We don't outlaw swimming pools. People die driving cars. 30-something thousand a year die driving cars. We outlaw it then? No, there's an acceptable amount of risk. Whereas a society, we come together and we say, this amount of risk is acceptable in order to hold on to our full complement of rights. And on the math, when it's a 1 in a million shot of killing somebody, I don't think that's enough of an excuse, an acceptable excuse to curtail your gun rights, or even to have the stories in the media that guns are scary. I think you sound silly saying guns are scary if it's a 1 in a million lethality. Lawn darts are more dangerous. Aspirin kills more people than celebratory gunfire. You have any scary stories? Look out for aspirin. Brent in Dallas, you're on WBAP. Hey, Brent.
Hey, James. Yeah, what you just said, this is so frustrating and laughable at the same time because they're totally missing the point here. You're debating with people that are anti-gunners, anti-Second Amendment to begin with. So
well, some of those guys were making the case that they're pro-guns. That last guy was a pro-gun instructor. He was a military veteran. He's a lifelong member of the NRA. Some people that even call themselves pro-gun take amazingly anti-gun stances.
Well, then they're ignorant because they don't seem to realize that every single law that gets enacted against guns is a slippery slope. And you're just asking for more interpretive legislation that goes against law-abiding citizens.
No, I don't think they're ignorant. I think they just hadn't listened to the James Show long enough. I think that would fix a lot of these problems, Brent.
I think you're wrong on the number of bullets going in the air tonight, too. It's probably closer to 2 or 3 million. And it's horrible, but it's ridiculous that we need to put another law on the books to try to curtail something that's a farce.
Doesn't this make you want to go out and shoot bullets in the air?
What's that?
Doesn't this make you want to go out and shoot bullets in the air tonight? Just be like, you know what? They told me I couldn't do it. Now I just did it. Come do something.
I want to laugh at this whole conversation, but at the same time, the fact that people want to debate this and put another law in place is just absolutely ridiculous.
Well, I'm glad you got to hear it for yourself here. This is what we have to deal with. Thank you. That's Brent in Dallas. Wayne Quitman, you're on WBAP. Hey, Wayne.
Hey, Brent, what's going on? I am 100% pro-gun, pro-Second Amendment. It's just ridiculous to ever shoot a gun anywhere you don't know where the bullet's going. It's just dumb.
Should it be illegal?
Yes.
Okay.
How are you going to make it illegal? I don't know. But it's illegal right now in the state of Texas to shoot across a roadway, to shoot within 50 feet of the roadway, any direction, not even up in the air.
Wayne, so something that kills another human being about 1 in a million times, that's something so dangerous it needs to be outlawed?
Well, that's not the point. The point is when you shoot the gun, you can't be held responsible for the bullet that you discharged because it's gone, and you should be responsible for it.
So you're saying an activity that meets the reckless metric of 1 out of a million deaths that should be curtailed.
Why does it just have to be deaths? What if you go out?
Okay, there was 3 people. There was 3 people injured. The 1 death and 2 people injured.
My windshield, and I got to pay $500 to get my windshield changed because my insurance will only cover so much of it because of what you did.
Well, I'm against that. I have to
Or
find the
put
guy
a
that
hole in somebody's roof, like the roofer guy said.
the roofer guy said no bullets actually went through the roof. They've seen some strikes, but out of the 10 strikes he's seen on the thousands of roofs he's been on in North Texas, none of them went through.
Right, but they did damage to roofing. Whoever's got to be responsible for that because you can't find the person that shot the bullet. That's why you have to be responsible for every bullet you shoot out of your gun.
All right.
If you shoot them drastic up in the air, you can't be.
All right, Wayne and Quitman. I'm the most pro-gun Second Amendment guy there is, but here's my argument for curtailing your gun rights. It's
not a gun right. You don't have the right to discharge your firearm willy-nilly and not know where the bullet goes.
You know what? What if I'm shooting at a brick wall and I close my eyes?
That's fine because you hit the brick wall.
Yeah, but I didn't know where it's going. It was willy-nilly. It wasn't a responsible shot. You don't know. A toddler could have walked up in front of me between the time I closed my eyes and pulled the trigger.
That's right, and you'd be responsible for it. And if the toddler was right there at the brick wall, you would know you shot him. But when you shoot it up in the air a mile away, nobody can tell who shot the bullet.
Okay, so playing baseball, should that be illegal?
No, of course not.
Well, when I hit a ball, when someone pitches me the ball and I hit it with my bat, I do not have control over where that ball is going. It is going willy-nilly. And you know what it might do? It might hit somebody's windshield, Wayne.
Well, there's a good chance it won't go over 500 feet. A bullet will go a mile and a half.
Okay, but is that activity dangerous enough?
Baseball.
Hang on, I think you feel like the rug is slipping out from under you here. Is that activity, is that level of danger, should that make baseball illegal?
Well, I choose to go to the baseball game. If I'm sitting at my house and you shoot bullets up in the air and they come down and hit my windshield, how am I going to know you did it? How are you going to be responsible for what you did?
So that's a yes?
What's a yes?
You agree with me philosophically?
It's a yes that you shouldn't shoot bullets that you don't know where they're going.
Well, I agree you shouldn't, but should it be illegal is the question.
Of course it should. It should be illegal to shoot bullets where you don't know where they're going.
Okay, so when someone pitches me a baseball and I hit it, I don't know where it's going. It could go any number of directions and cause any number of property damage. Should that be illegal?
You can see the baseball. You can see who hit it, and you can see where it's going. You can't see a bullet.
Okay, so would you be in favor of it if I could put a signature on the bullet so after it killed somebody, they can go back and charge me with a crime? Then would celebratory gunfire?
And they can do that.
Cool. So you don't care if they actually die. I got it. This isn't about safety. This is about accountability. Fun argument to have. I'm cutting it off here, though. All you 100 people that are calling in, you can stop now because for the rest of the show, we're going to do the top viral videos of 2025 from The James Show. I'm James Parker on News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. Happy New Year's, fellow Texans. Welcome back to the James Show. News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. Let's go. Tell you what, here's compromise I'm going to do with you because the gun topic, I had to cut that off because I have some even better stuff to do for the last half hour of the show. We'll do this again tomorrow because I was checking my emails and I got some guy that's replying about how James needs to be fired for saying such dangerous things. Then he sent a link that kind of proves my point. And then Anthony sent me an email, parker@wbap.com, saying, hey, Mythbusters debunked this whole claim of celebratory gunfire causing deaths. Check it out on YouTube. And I was just watching the first part of that. And you know what? You're going to hear some of that tomorrow on the James Show. So if you got more to say, come back on tomorrow's show. I'll be doing a live show on New Year's Day. Like, James, you're a big, important radio host. You don't have New Year's Day off? No, I'm not really a big, important radio host, I guess. But I wanted to put that aside because this is even better. The top viral videos of 2025. I'm pretty good at cataloging my sound bites, so I can go back and dig through them later and find stuff really quick. And I marked the viral videos for 2025 that I thought you would get a good kick out of that you may not have heard because you didn't get to hear every episode. Problem is, I could only narrow it down to 16. So I don't think we're going to get through all of these, but let's try. One of my favorite ones, this is what it's like trying to buy a glass of tea in 2025.
Hi. One herbal tea, please.
Which flavor?
Jasmine?
Sorry, I meant for the boba.
The little spheres of tapioca and sugar?
The tea comes with boba.
Well, it doesn't because I see the tea right there and I see the boba over there. So why don't we just not combine them? Yeah? So I'll take the tea without the covert diabetes delivery mechanism, please.
The system won't let me do that.
Okay. Yeah, no, fine. One boba, please. We'll call it a mental health day treat. Self-care, right? Isn't that what people call it whenever they need an excuse to do whatever the they want?
I don't know.
Yeah, no, of course you don't. Of course you don't. One chewy sugar tea, please.
All right. You can scan the code.
Why?
Because the code takes you to the app.
That's 2 apps today. Yeah. Got apps for everything, Even though I'm already talking to the person that could just take my order right here, but I got to download an app, right? How about this? I have cash. You have tea. Why don't we just streamline things?
We don't take cash, though.
Yeah. How about cards? Take cards?
Yes.
Oh, great.
But there is a $10 minimum. There's no minimum on the app, though.
Sorry, it's it's not your fault. You didn't create the system.
Here is another great viral video that we all enjoyed on the James Show during the great food stamp crash out of 2025. This one comes from October 14th.
And with food stamps getting cut off next month, like I don't have a kid that eats like a grown man. I eat like a grown man. We like steak and lobster.
Yeah, you like food.
Yeah, we like food. We like steak and lobster. So I want everybody to be prepared for me and my kid to be at their house for Thanksgiving. Yup, we're straight. Yup, and we're gonna eat your food. Period. We're coming to your house and we're gonna eat all your food. Because what? Cutting the snaps off for November? Like, the 3-year-old don't eat like a grown man. So yeah, I just want everybody to be prepared for me and my penguin to come and sit at y'all dinner tables.
Yeah, it's immoral to take food away from people. So in order to rectify this immorality, we're going to go take food away from people. My next favorite viral video, a Jets fan that rightfully hates his team.
Y'all see them and get your thoughts on the game?
I hate this team. I was born into this, and I'm not going to ever... I'm always a Jets fan, but, like, I hate this team.
Yeah, I love that. Because you feel that. It's the same way we feel about the Cowboys. Like, man, we were born into this. We didn't get to choose this. You think I would choose 30 years of futility? You think I would choose not even sniffing the NFC Championship game for 3 straight decades? You think I chose this? No, and that, look, the rarity you have here, and I don't know if you appreciate it, Once you get to a station as big as WBAP, you get in a market as big as DFW, the likelihood that you're going to have a local guy who grew up next to you as one of the hosts is almost zero. You realize that? Hal J's not from here. Ernie's from Houston. Casey's from California. Mark Lee Van Camp and Robbins, none of them are from here. Mark Levin's not from here. So I am with you. I actually grew up as a Cowboy fan. Roger Staubach was the quarterback when I was born. In fact, that's how we tell time in my family. He's not a millennial or a Gen Xer. He's a Staubach baby. Yeah. But sometimes I feel like that too, man. I hate this team. I'm still going to be a Cowboys fan. I was born into this. I would never choose this. Another great viral video. A guy that was red pilled by Bigfoot.
Pastor, like, Mike, you used to be so liberal. What happened? And the only way I can describe it is like, imagine you and your friend really like camping, and you go camping all the time. But then one day your friend starts telling you they're really worried about Bigfoot. They think Bigfoot's going to get them specifically. And then they don't stop camping, but they start telling people that they're really brave for camping and that they're camping in protest of Bigfoot. And then you kind of pull your friend aside and you're like, hey, I don't think you need to worry about Bigfoot as much as you're worried about Bigfoot. I don't think it's actually mentally healthy for you to worry about this much about Bigfoot. But then they start saying, hey, that sounds like something a Sasquatch would say. And you're like, you, I'm not a Sasquatch. But then they start telling the other campers that you're making them feel unsafe and that they shouldn't let you in the Jeep Wrangler anymore. So you get really frustrated and you're like, you, maybe I am a Sasquatch. And you start posting pro Bigfoot memes online, not because you believe them, but just you kind of want to get under their skin a little bit. But then you've also been listening to the things that Bigfoot's been saying on podcasts, and it doesn't all make sense, but some of it kind of tracks. Like maybe Smokey the Bear is lying to us about where the origins of forest fires and what's going on in Ukraine. So then all of your friends are starting to become really obnoxious. All they talk about is Bigfoot. Meanwhile, you've been making small donations to the Sasquatch Party. Nothing huge, but enough that they send you a shirt that says Make America Gigantopithecus again. And then at that point, you're wearing the shirt in a Buc-ee's and one of your friends camping sees it and you're like, I'm never getting back in that Jeep Cherokee again. Damn it.
Coming up next, Sally's from Fort Worth. She's visiting her daughter in Dallas, and she gives her a rant on why she hates Dallas. The best viral videos of 2025 continue next on The James Show. News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. Well, happy New Year's Eve. This is the James Show, News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. Woo! Be safe out there for New Year's Eve. Only 24% of people in a survey said that they want to go out for New Year's Eve. So that means 76% of us want to sit in the backyard and shoot guns. I think that's what we're going to be, just squeezing off rounds in the air just recklessly. So that last caller will have a stroke just thinking about it. It'll be great. But we're rolling through the top viral videos of 2025. And it's mostly just stuff that cracked me up, although not all of it is comedy. I don't think Sally really intended for this to be funny. I think she was just speaking her mind. But in the scenario, picture what looks like to be the inside of a luxury SUV of some sort. I don't know, Escalade, Navigator, nicer than my car. And Sally is in the passenger seat. Her daughter is in the driver's seat, driving and videoing at the same time. And her mom is explaining, Sally's explaining to her daughter why she hates Dallas.
Come and live with me and get out of Dallas. Okay, you have to tell people, why do you give me a hard time about Dallas? Oh, because everything is so fluty tooty and the food is so, oh yes, and then you look and a sandwich is $75 and you think, oh mother, that's okay, this is such and such a place. Well, and you act fluty tooty and your car is fluty tooty and Dallas is fluty tooty and I live there. Fort Worth. Well, you live in Hearst, but you grew up in Fort Worth. Well, I know Fort Worth isn't Rudy Tooty. It's nice, a good, great place to live. Dallas is everybody over there, something's wrong with them, all of them. And I mean, you can't even, you can go anywhere and just to eat lunch and it's going to cost $200. I mean, that's true. I don't know. You just sort of get in there. Well, we need to go to some Oscars and have his Oscars a la or whatever he's serving. I don't know.
That sounds like half of my friends from Fort Worth. Remember when the thick anchor was reading the comments from social media? And by thick, older people, that is what people my age and younger use for a girl that's maybe a couple pounds overweight, but still attractive. Like, not fat. She's not fat. She doesn't have like a gut with rolls in it or anything. She's just a little thick, and she looks like she's like works out like a lifter of some sort. She looks like she's just in really good shape. But even with her sort of thick frame, she looks like a Barbie doll. She looks absolutely beautiful, just a little thick.
You look like you can turn a wrench.
Wait. Oh.
What does it mean? What does it mean? Big back, kind of cute. More at 5. You are a little big, but kind of cute. Don't laugh. I know about 5 thick news anchors, and she's 3 of them. Sources say there is enough cake for a triplets birthday party, but unfortunately for Josh, he won't be getting a slice. Sorry, Josh, my bad, man. Well, maybe next time. Probably not.
I don't know what your job is, but I worked in TV in a couple of instances through my career, and nothing is more horrifying than going home and turning on the TV and seeing yourself on TV, because the first thing that you're going to think is, oh my God, am I that fat? Am I that big? And I know the camera adds like 10 pounds or whatever, but when you're like 6'3", 230 like me, it probably adds like 30 pounds. I mean, I look like Shrek. I look like Sasquatch on the TV. And boy, it's so easy. If you're on TV, you know how easy it is to turn down dessert. You know how easy it is to go to Sunday school and people are like, you want a donut? And you're like, hell no, I don't want a donut. I got to look at my fat face on TV for the next 3 days. No. But no, that's one of the main reasons I stay in any kind of shape. Number one is, for benefit of Miss Parker, and it helps with my odds, if you know what I'm saying, fellas. But no, the other one is if you're in any sort of public facing job, talk show host, TV host, whatever, and someone has a disagreement with you, it could be over sports, it could be over the news, it could be over politics, it could be over religion. If you're out of shape, the first thing that everyone's going to say is, you're fat. I can't live like that. I don't stay in shape because I'm healthy or because I'm disciplined. I stay in shape because I like Miss Parker and I'm vain. Another great viral video from 2025 is this guy that was triggered by a fart.
It's fresh because it just happened. But my wife and I just went to the grocery store right by our house, just to buy like junk food and stuff, because we're really tired. Just wanted some sweet treats. And we were walking down an aisle, and there were like two guys that walked up next to us. Peyton like walked away. My wife walked away for just a second, and they were like snickering to themselves or something. And I didn't really think much of it, so I'm just looking at the candy aisle trying to decide what candy I want. And he walks by and gets like inches from me and just rips one, like farts like this far from me. That's disgusting to say. I can't even believe I'm having to say this, but he did. And about that time, Peyton walked up, like didn't witness what happened, but like seconds later, and I'm like upset, and I follow after him. I was like, is there a reason? You were just so disrespectful to me. And we go to customer service. And this is Albertsons, putting y'all out there. This is Albertsons, by the way. And go to the customer service to be like, hey, this just happened. I was just disrespected in your store and called names like several times. And the security guard went and talked to him, came back, and they all just kind of looked at us and was like, well, can't y'all just leave?
Yeah, we've got a rogue farter in here. Someone going to do something? Albertsons, you're way out of pocket. Another viral video. I'm running out of time for these. In 2025, we had to award the first gold medal for the most woke person. I'm telling you, if we had an Olympics for wokeism, this person would at least get the bronze. Check this out.
I am Filipino-Japanese, second generation. I'm a disabled trans man, but I'm also a Medicaid patient. I'm also a person who uses food stamps. I'm also a person who has been through houselessness in this country. I'm also a person who has gone through substance use and addiction. And most of all, I am a patient of Planned Parenthood.
Oh my Lord. That's it. You win, baby. That is the most woke. News break. She just got a show on M-Snow. So, and finally, another great viral video that men are going to love, women are going to hate. A viral video of a man explaining that women are incapable of being happy.
Women with curly hair buy a straighter. Women with straight hair buy a curler. Women with dark hair dye it blonde. Women with blonde hair dye it dark. Women with big boobs, they get a breast reduction. Women with small boobs, they get implants. I mean, you can't make that species happy. If they're light skinned, they want to get darker. There is no making them happy. They got eyebrows. They shave them off and draw new ones on. There is no making that species happy.
What about men?
No, men are good.
All right, that's going to do it for the James Show. Go out, have a good New Year's Eve. I'll be back to do a show tomorrow. If you're around the radio, come join me again from 2 to 5. I'm James Parker. Mark Levin's coming up next, or whoever's filling in for him, on News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP.